Hey guys, we are working on our second lesson for social studies. We're going to talk about an atlas today. We're going to learn what an atlas is. Before we start, we are going to look at Google Earth. So, have you ever wondered what Earth looks like from outer space? Before we begin our lesson, we're going to zoom in from space to find our continent, our country, our state, our hometown, and our school. All right, so this is Google Earth, and this is like a map from outer space. And it's going to take just a minute to load. All right, so this is what, if you were in outer space, this is what Earth would look like. So this is like a globe. And see all the blue? That's all the oceans. And then these spots are all our continents. So we've got So we're going to zoom in and start looking at some of the continents. So we've got Asia, and then we have Europe over here. Then we have Africa. Then we have the Atlantic Ocean. There's South America. And here is North America. So if you look right here, this is our continent that we live in. We live in North America. Now we can zoom in further to the United States. The United States is the country that we live in. So this is our country. Now we're going to zoom in even further to our state. And if you zoom in over here on the East Coast, this is South Carolina. I'm trying to see if it'll show the outline. All right, you can see right here. This is South Carolina right here. So if we zoom in even further to South Carolina, we can find our city or our town. Things just taking a second to load. So there's Lake City that is nearby, and Hemingway and Johnsonville. So we can zoom into Johnsonville. This is our town right here. And we're going to zoom in to Johnsonville. So this is our city. So we're going to zoom in to find our school. So if we look, you notice here's the track field and the baseball field and the softball field. So look, there is Johnsonville Elementary School. So we can zoom in. And we can actually see our school. Look, there's the district office, there's the cafeteria, There's the gym and all our awnings that come through. Here's our building and the primary building and the playgrounds right here and the basketball court and the tetherball. And there's where the buses go. So we zoomed in all the way from our Earth from outer space where we could see our continents and ocean, to our country, to our state, to our city, to our school. So our state, and then our country, and our continent. All right, now we're going to keep looking at our map. So the atlas, if we were in class, we would be working on an atlas together. But since we don't have this material at home, we're going to talk about this, and then you guys are just going to answer questions about your continent, country, and your state, city, and school today. All right, so we're going to review real quick over our continents. So we learned about these yesterday. So we have in the blue, we have North America. In the red, we have South America. In the orange, Europe. And the yellow is Asia. And the green is Africa. The pink is Australia. And then the purple is Antarctica. And then we have our oceans. We have Atlantic Ocean, we have Pacific Ocean, we have Arctic, we have Southern, and we have the Indian Ocean. All right, so then just like how we zoomed in on the Google Earth, we have our continent that we live in is North America. So if we were to label North America, everything in the red is the United States. And if you notice all the way up there at the top corner that's red, that, excuse me, that is Alaska. So that is also part of the United States, even though it's way up there in the corner. The yellow is Canada, and the purple is Mexico. All right, then like how we zoomed into North America, we zoomed in and we found the United States. And if you look over in the corner where it says SC, let's see if it'll let me show my pointer. SC right here. That is South Carolina. So that is our state. So this is the whole United States. So remember, Alaska was way up here in this corner. This is South Carolina. And our capital of our state is Columbia. And it's right here. It kind of sits in the middle of the state. So remember, first, we live on Earth. Our continent is North America. Our country is the United States. Our state is South Carolina. But even though Columbia is our capital, our city is actually right around here. Johnsonville is right over here. So we're going to look at a video to teach us a little bit about maps. So an atlas is a book of maps. So we're going to watch a vocabulary video to learn about different kinds of maps. And then you guys are going to answer a few questions about where you live.
You know, maps are pretty cool. They can tell us what something looks like, how to get somewhere, can give us information about places and people. You know, a map is kind of like a book. You need to know how to read it, or it doesn't make sense. But it's not that hard. Just get it. Yeah. People ask me, what's a map? A map is a drawing or a photograph that shows us any place from above. It's a bird's eye view that I love. You can map any place, small or huge. Here's a map of the world and here's a map of my room. Political maps have the borders of countries. There's the US, there's Canada, trust me. Maps color countries so they're easy to see. And they have labels where the cities would be. That dot is New York, that star is DC, because a capital is Washington, D.C. How did I know that capitals were stars? I looked down at the legend, it's not far. The legend, sometimes called the key, tells us what the symbols mean. See, it says a dot is a big city. A star is a capital city. Now come with me. There are more symbols that I'm counting. That triangle means there's a mountain. That blue line is a river. There's a river by a mountain. Go figure. Now as you can see, a map is much smaller than the thing it represents. Yeah, holler.
Oh, so New York's not really an inch from DC?
Nah, it's farther than that, trust me. What's the actual distance? Check the scale, which shows how big it is for real. That's the real distance, that's the map distance, 200 miles, that's what 1 inch is. But the scale on each map is different, so check the legend when you need assistance. Physical maps show what the land is like, and the color shows us the height. So I can tell from looking at the map that this area is mountains and this is flat.
Which way's north? Want me to ask Columbus?
Nah, you could look at the compass rose. Yeah, that's how you know which way's north, east, southwest. Let's go. Mappy map, you know what to do with that. Taking trips, here's a tip, you can use a map. Mappy map, and the legend has your back. Here's the key, follow me, now we do some maps. Mappy map, mappy, mappy, mappy map. Taking trips, here's a tip, you can use a map. Mappy map, mappy, mappy, mappy map. Here's the key, follow me, now we do some maps. Yeah. And there are so many different kinds of maps. There are climate and weather maps that show us storms. Some show us temperature. There are road maps that show roads. There are agricultural maps that show us where different plants or animals are raised. There are military maps that show us where battles happened and where armies marched. There are historical maps that show us what people thought the world looked like. There are maps of the moon, maps that show us sports teams. A blueprint is like a map of a building. There are maps of galaxies, maps of every place in my house that I hid a pickle, maps of how to get to my secret stash of Halloween candy from 5 years ago, maps of all the cute dogs in my neighborhood, maps of all the scary dogs in my neighborhood, maps of where to find the best maps, maps of where they filmed the TV show Mutant Ant Power Squad. You know, maps.
Okay, so now you guys are going to go onto your Schoology and you're going to answer the questions about your continent, country, state, city, and school.